Oh, hey, you're here. I'll catch up with you. Sorry, I'm just on my way out, but your workstation's at the back over there. It should be all set up on the network, but let the guys know if it isn't. From there, you can access all the data you need to help us direct development of the car. Get yourself settled, and then head out to practice when you're ready. I'll catch up with you later, okay?
Welcome to your new team. Williams has a rich history, with several periods of dominance over several decades in the sport. It's high time for another one of those, and you can help make that happen. So let's knuckle down and get to work, okay?
What is up, everybody? Welcome once again to my YouTube channel, and today let's continue with our F1 2019 career mode. After a successful F2 season, we have picked the Williams team to lead to greatness, hopefully. As you can see, our contract, we have actually cool perks, and we have the art team goal. So yeah, it's going to definitely be interesting to see. As you can see, it is Emma, drunk once again, giving us a 14th place in qualifying or better for the Williams, which is great. At least it gives us 600 resource points. Yeah, we've gone with the Williams, just trying for a third time to carry it to glory, and hopefully we can get third time lucky, right? Hopefully we can do it. Now, taking a look at our performance, the only power unit is serviceable, everything else is very bad. So it's certainly going to be a tough season, but we are going to start with the general durability upgrade, of course. Just don't really want any surprises towards the end of the season, and I think I will start developing the aerodynamics first, and I'm going to start with some wind tunnel efficiency upgrades to make the other parts of the car cost less. But yeah, with that one, let's get ourselves started with the first practice session of the season.
Welcome to Melbourne and the inaugural event of the F1 2019 Championship season. The session is starting shortly, and there's a real sense of anticipation in the air. A feeling that anything can happen this year, and if it does, well, this weekend could be the opening chapter to one of the most exciting F1 seasons ever. Joining me in the commentary box is, of course, Anthony Davidson, and it's great to have you back again. What can you tell us about this year's roster? There are some new faces this year, aren't there?
Absolutely, Crofty. There's been a number of interesting signings over the last few months. Where would you like to start?
Let's talk about the rookie.
Right, well, this is definitely someone to keep an eye on. Well, they've been signed up likely in no small part due to the way they carried themselves in the Formula 2 Championship. They have a great track record of putting the team first. At one of the races, they even gave up their own position when their car had a technical issue, so that their teammate Lucas Weber, who also debuts here today, could get ahead. That kind of team spirit could take them a long way this season.
Those two aren't the only new faces from Formula 2 this season, are they?
No, this season will introduce fans to George Russell and Lando Norris, two very promising young British drivers. Plus, we'll meet Alexander Albon from Thailand, and finally, Devon Butler. Now, Devon was a bit of a controversial figure in Formula 2 last year. He racked up a lot of penalties over the course of the season, including one where he collided with his closest rival. It was a nasty clip. Now, certainly after the event, they were nothing but professional in terms of how they spoke about the incident with Devon, but it's hard to imagine them being as polite about it behind closed doors. I think this rival will be one to keep an eye on over the next few races, as both drivers take their first steps into the world of Formula 1.
So, back out on the car at the track, this Albert Park. Of course, just trying to get used to it. Of course, it's box standard, and I haven't driven the car in this state since the patch, right? So, when I was first trying this car, was at the launch of the game, the car was still quite understeery, because the engine, the handling model was quite understeery as well. So yeah, we got purple in everything. We even got the entirety of the team objectives. But unfortunately, we didn't get the qualifying pace. I struggled a little bit on pushing on those. I also didn't quite manage my ERS in the correct way. Coming into and at the exit of the last corner, I started derating. Of course, that doesn't really help you get the quickest exit possible, right? And you start losing speed comparatively to what if you had the energy available, right? You just lose speed all the way into the line, and that's probably why I wasn't able to pull it off.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. It's been a lot of hard work, but here you are making your debut in Formula 1. You must be thrilled.
Well, of course I am. It's a dream come true, right? But yeah, I've worked hard getting through all the other categories to get here, but of course everyone is here for so long and they know so much, so the hard work doesn't stop here.
So how are you finding things at the team? Are you settling in?
Well, I've said before, I don't really think I need to settle in, but yeah, everyone is so much more experienced, right, in the team, and yeah, they are some of the best at what they do, so that applies to the entire team.
What are you expecting out of this season? Are you just aiming to find your feet in Formula 1, or do you see something more?
Well, I would like to get points with the car, so let's see how well we can develop it, but at least for now I want to test myself against the best of the world and see where I rack up.
Great, well that's everything.
Okay, so now back to our motorhome. I would like to take a look at our resource points. Let's see the total at the end of the practice session. We are going to get about 910 points, okay. And we moving on to the respect from the teams. We also got increased respect or reputation with every team, including our own. So yeah, we did a good job in that first practice session. Let's now move on to the qualifying session for the first race of the season for this Australian Grand Prix.
We're just about ready to kick off today's qualifying here in Melbourne. It's the Australian Grand Prix.
Okay, so we're going to get ourselves ready. We are just about to finish our out lap, and we are going to get ourselves started with our flying lap, getting ourselves to mode number 4 on fuel mix and number 5 on ERS. We open the ERS to get the best run, of course, into turn 1, and by the end of it...
Okay, the DRS is stuck open. You'll have to come in so we can try and attempt to fix. Pit in for repairs.
Of course, Williams just Williamated, if I can say that, and we are going to have to go back into the pits to get it fixed. We had to wait the time, because I'm not going to skip ahead and give the AI simulated lap times. That's not ideal. So we had to wait. We got ourselves out there again, and hopefully we can start getting on with our qualifying session at this point. Getting ourselves out of the garage. I'm on the same tires because I barely used them. I was very careful with them coming back into the pits. And coming out of the pits, I look behind and the DRS is still stuck open. So I don't know what they did. But yeah, I'm going to have to bring it back into the pits. Now, we have finally been able to get on with our session, and we are on a flying lap at this point. At sector 2, we are already losing a second to Vettel. Of course, that's expected. But let's see how it goes for us. We're getting now to turn number 13. A little bit of counter steering there. We almost lost the rear. Getting now to turn 15, just throwing the car in. Almost touched the gravel on the exit. Now very tricky braking corner or braking zone into turn 15. Took a little bit too tight, and into turn 16 we missed the apex. Coming out of the corner we open DRS and we start derating once again, just like in practice. And we get a 124.4. At least we still beat Russell, but of course our target is 14th, right? I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it. At least I'm not expecting it at all, but it is what it is. So we are going to have to work to improve, and improving we are at this point. We are improving by over 6 tenths at this point. The checkered flag has been shown to all competitors. And we lose the rear there coming out of turn 13, hopefully not too much harm. Nonetheless, we're going to get ourselves through the last 2 corners. Let's see how good of an exit we get coming out of turn number 16. DRS wide open. This time we won't derate. We even get overtake as well in the mix, and we're going to cross over the line, and it is going to be P12. Look at that. I really wasn't expecting that one. That was a really surprising one. But we did get it, and we are out of Q1. I really wasn't expecting it. God damn, I was really happy with that one. George Russell 3 seconds behind the lead, in last, and Grosjean, Albon, Ricciardo with a disappointing performance, and Raikkonen as well. I'd say Raikkonen was aiming to get a little bit further up, but yeah, those are the guys who didn't proceed through to Q2. So yeah, let's get on with it. We are getting soon now into Q2, and you're going to get our flying laps. You can see very close to the end of the session. We had already done a lap that cost us P11, but I knew some other guys haven't gone for the flying laps just yet. We have a Renault right behind us. I believe that's Hülkenberg, so it might disturb us, but nonetheless we're just going to try our best. Getting ourselves through turn 1 and turn 2, smooth on the power, up through the gears, DRS wide open in the back of the car as we wait for the 100-meter marker on the left side of the track to brake for turn number 3. Now a smooth transition into turn 4 is needed. Those curbs can bite you in the rear end if you are not too careful. So we now go through the right-hand king of turn number 6, getting to corner number 7, up through the gears to now number 8, this longer right-hander. Not really much of a difficulty for an F1 car. Now hard on the brakes, a little bit of feel is required for the braking zone into that corner. I don't really have a specific reference point to brake for that one, so it is a tricky one for me. We're now getting to the high-speed chicane, the most important point of the track. You take the left, you take the right, and you kept going away up through the gears. DRS wide open in the back of the car. We lost a little bit of time through the high-speed chicane, but hopefully we can gain it back in the last couple corners. Turn 13 wasn't the greatest as well. Turn 14 we also could have done better, but now into the hairpin we are much quicker. We are back on the green. Let's see how we go now coming out of the last corner. DRS is wide open, ERS mode number 4 as well. We are improving, but is it enough to get into Q3? No, it is not. It was a minimal improvement, and we are going to keep ourselves in a P12. So yeah, I was really excited with that one. I really wasn't expecting. 2 seconds away from Hamilton, who took, well, not pole, but took the lead at the end of the session. It is Kevin Magnussen in P11, myself in P12, then Lance Stroll, Nico Hülkenberg, and Carlos Sainz getting a 15th place to his name. So yeah, that was a very good qualifying performance. I really wasn't expecting that at all, but yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully we can have a similar pace for the race. Now we're going to get ourselves done with qualifying, and we're going to get back to our motorhome. And as you guys can see, we don't have a rival just yet, but we are leading Russell, of course, as we beat him. In terms of our resource points, we are going to get a few more. We are going to get to 1100. Right, 1100 resource points. We're going to get the wind tunnel efficiency, and hopefully we can get enough points after the race is completed to get our first upgrade for the front or the rear wing, our first aerodynamics upgrade. But yeah, as you can see from the graphic there, we are really far behind. Just a message there from Jeff, some inspiration perhaps for the race. But yeah, let's get on with it. Let's get the season started for the first Grand Prix of the season, the Australian Grand Prix. Let's go.
New drivers, new cars, it's a new Formula One season. But it's the same Albert Park that we've come to know and love for more than 2 decades now that plays host to round 1 of a 21-race championship that takes us from here in Australia across the globe and the eventual season finale at the Yas Island circuit in Abu Dhabi. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 16 corners and 3.3 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles an hour. The close proximity of the barriers makes accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Vettel, Pierre Gasly and Leclerc, Perez, Weber, Butler and Lando Norris, Magnussen, the rookie, Lance Stroll and Hülkenberg, Sainz, Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo and Alexander Albon, Grosjean and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So let's get on with it, as we are just wrapping up our formation lap. But in terms of our strategy, we are going from the soft to the medium, pitting at about lap 11. Just going to take mediums until the end of the race. Magnussen is on the mediums for the start. I'm not sure what tire is going to finish the race on, but it is going to be interesting to see. It's going to have an advantage towards the end of the stint in terms of the tire wear. At least for this first stint. Again, I don't know what tires is going to pick for the second one, but guess we are going to find out. Let's not forget, we have Raikkonen in P16, because that is going to be relevant. So let's see how it goes now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Australian Grand Prix. We actually lose the rear there in gear number 3, which actually looks like it's shorter than gear number 2, and Raikkonen just kamikazes himself onto the inside of Norris and Magnussen, compromises the run out of turn 2 of the Dane, and we get around him up back to P12. We're going now to dive Raikkonen and Norris. I wasn't really interested in overtaking Norris, only Raikkonen, and we managed to pull that off. Perez right ahead of us is battling Leclerc for P6, but Leclerc through turn 5 is going to be able to get inside and keep his position. So it is Leclerc and Perez in 7th, Weber in 8th, Butler in 9th, Norris in P10. So we had a good start, and at this point I believe the plan is just to try to keep up with them as long as I can, just to save fuel, save ERS, and see how it goes. Okay, yeah, I'm going to try to do exactly that, but yeah, losing a little bit of a couple of cars lane, so the cars ahead looks like they are faster, and by the proximity arrows, Raikkonen is glued to my rear end, so I would say Raikkonen is also faster than me at this point. And approaching now this corner number 13, yeah, as you guys can see, I'm really tentative. I'm a bit tentative on the brakes. I'm not really too confident on them. I went too early on them. I actually got too tight to turn number 13 back there, but yeah, not really confident on my brakes just yet, because I don't know, with the car full of fuel, I'm not sure what is going to be the behavior of the car, right? I'm not really able to be as confident as I wanted, so just trying to be careful at this point. We even brought it up to rich mix to avoid Raikkonen from getting alongside us into turn 1, and here I thought I was going to be safe, but he actually had more speed than I was expecting, and into brakes, he actually brakes much later than me, gets the position, it's going to turn into his inside. I still manage to force him to give me space, banging wheels. I have to go quite to the insides there, almost got a warning probably, but Raikkonen into turn 6 harder, and later on the brakes as well, gets up to P12 himself. Now skipping a little bit forward to lap number 3, we have a bit of a cushion to Hülkenberg, and the same plan as before, just try to keep up with Raikkonen and good things will happen, I would say. But yeah, just getting the ERS to 0 whenever we get DRS and slipstream. Now getting through turn 13, just trying to close in on him, but we lose the rear, and that is going to be a big moment there. That's really compromised our plan, because now we are going to have to get back on track to work, to get back on the DRS zone or range. Of course, we have been able to open DRS, still don't know how, honestly, but Raikkonen is 1.3 seconds ahead of this point, and he was faster than me, right? So Hülkenberg is 8 tenths behind, and I would say is going to start closing in a little bit. So yeah, it's going to definitely be tough. Raikkonen is also going to start getting DRS from the cars ahead, so yeah, the target just got very hard for us. We are now jumping into lap number 5, and as you can see, we are still trying to conserve our ERS, just through that first sector, low ERS mode, just trying to conserve a slight bit. He actually go very wide there, we had to lift off, otherwise we would have gone onto the grass, and Hülkenberg is right on our gearbox at this point. So yeah, it's going to be difficult to defend from him, as we have yellow flags up ahead. Looks like it is one of the Red Bull cars pulling off to the side, and it is going to be Max Verstappen out of the Grand Prix. So not a great start from him and for his season. Unfortunately, the underpower unit failing him. So yeah, he's going to have a little bit of trouble getting his season started. Now, jumping to the end of lap number 6, we've maintained the distance to Raikkonen, but look at the last corner. We really have to compromise it. We have to lift off because we understeer so much out of there, and Hülkenberg is going to get the RS, is going to get a better run. I decided to let him through so I could perhaps get a better exit out of turn 2 and counteract his DRS, but nah, it was just too strong and he got himself through, and yeah, he's just going to consolidate the move, and it is up to P11 at these moments. We lose the rear there. Ooh, that was very lucky indeed. That was very lucky for us to not get any damage whatsoever there. But yeah, those curbs, I was saying on the qualifying lap, those curbs can really bite you in the rear if you are not paying attention to them. But yeah, I'm just going to try to do the same as before, chase down Hülkenberg. It is definitely going to be hard because those guys are quicker than me. Now I have Magnussen, who, as I said before, is going to have the tire advantage into until the end of the stint, right? Because it's going to have the mediums, which are deteriorating at a slower rate. Nonetheless, we do get a better exit out of turn number 12 into 13. The front right tire complains a little bit, but we got around the outside of Hülkenberg. We have our car ahead of him, but we do have to give space because he's still there. Force him a little bit wide, not enough to give him the grass though, so that was clean, and we managed to hold onto P11. Also, that compromised the run from Hülkenberg, so he's actually going to get challenged by Kevin Magnussen, and Lance Stroll also gets involved in the mix. It was almost 3 wide there into turn number 1, but Magnussen is the one that is going to get himself past the Renault and is now going to start chasing me. We still got a little bit of a buffer to the cars behind, but of course they have been quicker than me at this point. Stroll even attacking, got himself up to P12 momentarily, but Magnussen was able to retake the position, and yeah, he's P12 for the time being. Let's see how quick he bridges that 2.4 second gap. It's not going to be easy to defend for him, and we really have to push to catch up to Raikkonen and the others, because I still wanted to catch up to them, because if we catch up to them, we are going to be able to employ our strategy, but yeah, it's definitely going to be hard, especially as our resources are starting to falter now. Low fuel and low ERS, so yeah, it's definitely going to be hard.
Raikkonen is ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 3.0 seconds. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 8 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1:28.7. You're falling back by 1/10 a lap.
Yeah, we lost 1/10 in the previous lap, but that was quicker than this lap. This lap we are basically 0.8 slower than our best lap, and Raikkonen was only 0.3 slower than our best lap. Fortunately for us, or maybe even unfortunately, I don't know, but we have Norris and Weber coming into the pits. They are going to switch tires. They are going to undercut us by 2 laps actually. Jumping now to lap 11, Magnussen has been able to finally catch up at this point and is really going to pressurize us. As you guys can see, we are on a deficit of fuel at this point, and our tires are screaming to be taken off of our car. So yeah, do we make them a favor and go into the pits? I'm not sure if I was going to be able to do anything, especially as Magnussen is always going to have DRS and potentially overtake me. So I'm just going to get out of the battle, not lose time battling, and we are going into the pits. Butler is in the pits. There's also Leclerc, and one of the McLarens also there in the pits. I believe that was Hamilton. We also have Perez in the pits. We just gets released in front of us, and George Russell is stacking with us, and we also have a Renault pitting behind us, as well as Carlos Sainz.
Pit strategy complete. See these tires through to the end now.
But yeah, we are going to get out in P14, but yeah, some of the other drivers who have started the race on the mediums, they won't really they won't really be in front of us for much longer, right? They are still going to pit and we are going to undercut them, so we are going to take the positions from them and we are going to start gaining them in the upcoming laps. Jumping now to the end of lap number 12, as you can see it is Stroll and I want to say Hülkenberg. Yes, it is Hülkenberg in the pits, so we got in front of them. And the gap behind, yes, to Carlos Sainz, the gap is 2.9 seconds, but Sainz is having a battle there with Romain Grosjean, so they're not really going to gain much time on me. I don't think. Grosjean just got himself passed momentarily there. Grosjean is on the yards actually, so I'm not sure if he has pitted yet, but yeah, he's on the yards, so it's going to have also an advantage towards the end of the race. Looks like both Haas are on the same strategy, because as you can see from the minimap, Hülkenberg is also coming out of the pits and is also on the yards, and it's going to be close, but yeah, we did overtake him with a good lap, where I actually got our personal best lap so far. But yeah, 128.3 and we passed Hülkenberg, but as you can see, our resources have taken a knock, minus 0.2 of fuel, and we are about 30% on ERS as well, so that does give a chance for Magnussen to catch up, and that's exactly what it does, especially as he has fresher tires. Those are harder, but of course the freshness of them is going to be able to get a better rhythm, and is going to get DRS, is going to just sail past us really. I was trying to cover him a little bit, but the gap was too small for me to be able to defend. I'm going to try to implement the strategy I was implementing before. It is just follow the leader and try to manage your resources the best you can whenever you have the slipstream and DRS, so you don't lose too much time while on a lower ERS or fuel mode, right? So that is just the plan that we were trying to implement at this point. As we are about to start lap number 21, we do improve our situation. We are still on a deficit of fuel, but we do improve our fuel and ERS circumstance, so we are still maintaining a second gap to Magnussen, but that's actually because of a mistake in the previous lap. I believe we've been much closer to him than that, so we had to rush a little bit to catch up to him. But yeah, as you can see, 0 and lean mode through that transition from turns 3 and 4, so yeah, really trying our best to catch up or to keep up with him. As you can see from the minimap up ahead, we also have the train starting to form itself again. We have Norris leading, or sorry, Perez leading Norris, and then it is Kimi Räikkönen and Albon, sorry, not Albon, Butler, because Faber has already pulled away from all of those guys. He's already got a comfortable gap, so he's not really going to trouble himself too much with that. But let's see how it goes. Kevin Magnussen does get a worse exit out of the chicane, and we are going to get much closer to him. Lean mix and 0 on the ERS as well right away to capitalize on that one. I just don't really need to overtake him at this point. I just need to get the most amount of a surplus of fuel as possible and get the most amount of battery available so that we can push towards the end of the race. We still have 8 laps to go, as we are about to start lap number 22, so yeah, we really have our time to take, especially as Magnussen isn't really catching up to the cars ahead, I would say, at this point, unless some of them make some mistake. So yeah, I think we have all the time in the world to get ourselves with the strategy. We do need to be careful though in terms of our consistency. It looks like I'm getting a little bit more on the rhythm of the track. I'm not braking as early as I was before, but I'm more confident with the car, especially as it gets lighter because of the fuel. But and as soon as I say that, I get a little bit too wide there, but yeah, we do have a lot of time to keep up with Kevin Magnussen and just try to gain a lead in terms of the fuel and the ERS, so that once we pull the trigger, it doesn't have an opportunity to strike back. But of course the tires are going to be more degraded on my end than on his. Not only has fresher tires, his tires also degrade at a lesser rate, so yeah, it's definitely going to be tricky, but nonetheless that won't stop us from trying our best. I'm actually surprised as well. We are still maintaining P12. I would expect, even qualifying P12, I would expect at this point to be in about P16, but now we're actually having decent pace compared to what we're qualifying. Jumping now to lap number 25, and look at this, Perez brake checking basically Magnussen, and I also had to avoid him. Also had a little bit of a lockup, which didn't help me stop the car, but yeah, that was very close. And the cause of this is that Perez was battling with the other cars ahead, and he actually ended up getting front wing damage. So he still maintained the lead of that group, that's why he blocked everyone for a couple laps, but eventually they overtook them, and we've caught up to all of them. So we are going to throw ourselves down the inside of Perez. That was a bit of a forceful maneuver, but I knew that I couldn't get stuck behind Perez, especially given his front wing damage. I would really lose a lot of time and probably never be able to catch back up with Kevin Magnussen. Now our strategy is starting to have a bit of trouble, because I was expecting us to never catch up to these guys, so I was expecting Magnussen to never have DRS, but that might change in a little bit. We still have a big enough of a gap for the Dane to not get DRS on the cars ahead, but yeah, if Raikkonen decides to try a maneuver on Norris, as is close enough to do, or even Albon trying to overtake both of them, the gap is going to shrink very, very rapidly. In the meantime, we have yellow flags up ahead, as it is Albon who retired from the Grand Prix, so as you can see, not the greatest start of the season for the Honda-powered cars, and the situation is already clear. But yeah, Magnussen has pulled a little bit away from us, even though we were on a green first sector. We didn't have the greatest turn 7 as well, so we lost a little bit of time. But let's see who gets the best high-speed chicane. Let's throw the car at it, and I do believe I did get in the advantage. I'm on rich mix and ERS. We do have ERS to play with, but it is the fuel that worries me the most, especially if Magnussen starts getting DRS from the cars ahead. Let's see how it goes though, as we are about to start lap number 28. A little bit of a mistake for us again, unfortunately. I just can't be consistent to save my life. But yeah, we do have DRS. I don't see the flap opening on the back of Magnussen's car, but Butler has lost a little bit of time, as we have on the minimap, if you guys can see that, we had Norris and Raikkonen go side by side through turn 1, and they are going side by side through turn 2 as well. I don't know if you guys can see them at the end of the straight, but they are battling it out for what I believe to be P7, and jumping to the last lap of the Grand Prix, we are right on the back of that group. Lewis Hamilton takes home the win of this Grand Prix. But yeah, Magnussen is going to have DRS available out of the high-speed chicane. I knew it had to be all or nothing. I'm already on rich mix. I'm on hot lap mode even, trying to get the best exit possible out of this chicane. I know I've been quicker so far, but now we are going to get DRS. Is it going to be enough to overtake? We are going to launch ourselves down the inside of turn number 13. We almost lose the rear there, as we are still on rich mix and tires are quite worn out. We have to bring it back to lean mix, as we are under the fuel limit, and just parking the bus, covering the inside, slowing down as much as I can to compromise Magnussen the most I can. Getting now through the exit of the last corner, we actually enter low fuel mode, but that is it. Magnussen doesn't have enough space, and are going to score points in our F1 debut.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Very happy with that one. That was so tough towards the end, right down to the wire, and yeah, very happy with that.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
There you have it then. It is a 1-2 for Mercedes. They couldn't have a better start to the season. They actually have a bit of back and forth between Bottas and Hamilton. They were very close to each other throughout the entire race. Vettel pitted very early to go from softs to hards and found traffic that really compromised this strategy, so Leclerc is the one closing the steps of the podium. Now moving to the standings, of course, for the first race they are going to be in the same order as the race results. So you can see that is the order of the pack. Gasly getting himself P5, so best of the rest, I would say. Lando, Norris and Weber, good results. Raikkonen, driver of the day, from 8th to 16th, at least according to Ant. And in the constructors, Mercedes gets the full 44 points, the most possible. Then we have Ferrari with Alfa Romeo in P3. So with that, I'm happy with that. We got a point, right? And we are going to get back to the motorhome. So with that one, we narrowly miss enough points to get the first upgrade to the front wing. It is 450 points. So at this point, I think I'm just going to save to get the second wind tunnel efficiency upgrade, and maybe I'll save into a third, and after that we are going to get ourselves going with our development of the car. We still have a very good power unit, so I really want to get through the aerodynamic or chassis upgrades as quickly as possible. But yeah guys, this is it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like button. If you did not, the dislike button is, as always, right beside it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Hit the bell icon for any notifications of whenever I'm about to start a live stream or to post a video. Hope to see you guys next time, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.